Welcome to Uncaged, the show that celebrates thought leadership from today's top business leaders. The program provides a voice to amazing executives from around the globe who are shaping the world of business today and mapping the path to the commerce of tomorrow. Today, we're speaking with Adrian Garcia. Hey, Adrian, how are you?
Hey, Beth, I'm doing great today. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I'm very, very well. I'm excited to have you on the show to learn more about what you're working on right now. Adrian is the founder and CEO of FynCom. And FynCom is a company that increases marketing ROI by allowing businesses to enhance each stage of their sales funnels with automated rewards, creating engagement that would otherwise be lost. So we're going to talk about getting more engagement with customers and hopefully driving more business. Before we get to the FynCom story, Adrian, tell us a little bit about yourself and your career.
So I come from a classic engineering background. I did mechanical engineering in undergrad, and then like half a career worth of computer science there too. But I dropped out like all the cool kids do. So I was doing double major, and then I started doing research in computer science. So I figured I would just learn comp sci on my own and do mechanical engineering. Went to do a PhD in material sciences and engineering. The theme of my career has always been being on the cutting edge of something, whether it's engineering, whether it's computer science, whether it's anything else, anything that can be new and novel. That's what drives my interest. And so I have a classic academic background. Along the way, I've done a bunch of things like found cross-country teams at my alma mater, been part of a few organizations at UC Irvine, and did a few side businesses there too. I've always been doing little side businesses, even throughout the PhD. So I like the hustle and vibrancy of creating something out of nothing. And so, that's kind of my background.
Yeah, it led clearly to the creation of FynCom. So tell me about FynCom.
Yeah, so FynCom stands for Financial Communications, and what we're focused on here is helping businesses increase response rate to any outbound communication by letting them reward people. And you can think of it as adding a financial layer to your email or your text messages or your survey. When you look at the trends of how survey response rates has been with things like the National Pew Research Center or other major organizations, you see a downward trend from the 50s to now. And so that downward trend also extends to business interactions and opportunities for businesses to engage with their customers, find new customers, and retain existing ones. That same sort of lack in responses happens there too. And you can understand why with the macroeconomics, new businesses getting started, better automation tools, and that just means more people are getting contacted in many different ways. So we figured this industry is heading towards something where you're going to have to find some way to stand out from the typical messages. Some go for personalization, others go for timing. We say, let's just get down to the bulk of the matter and just talk about the incentives that are there.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about the secret sauce. How does it actually work?
Well, so the way it actually works is you set up your email. The main thing we have right now is email. So as a business, you create a FynCom account, and then you forward your incoming emails to one of ours. And from there, we handle the logic. So you would put in, say, money into the FynCom account, let's say $100 or so. And then you would create a rewards campaign that would say, I want to reward people 25 cents when they respond to this email. So now, whenever you send out emails from that email address, anyone who responds, that message gets forwarded to one of our email servers. We break it down, and then we reward that person based on that logic that you had. So there's a couple of different ways to do this. One, which I really love, is what we call the sales email. You can turn any email into a incentivized email. So you can use it in your email sequences, Marketo, Salesforce, whatever you want. That email just rewards anyone who responds to it once. And then the other tool we have is a marketing email where you can attach your SendGrid API key to FynCom, and now any marketing campaign you do can be incentivized. So that's where you can do more complex things like A/B rewards testing. And so that's more or less how that works. On the back end, we're just moving money around in our own little ways of making it just easy for businesses to just worry about getting responses and seeing what the effectiveness of a campaign might be.
Cool. I mean, it's such a great product. I love the idea of rewarding customers or potential customers for their time and to consider an offer. It's a nice idea. There's been a couple spins over the years on this type of construct. And so I'd just be curious, are there certain business verticals that this appeals to more than others?
Well, that's a good question. So this vertical of corporate gifting is a $242 billion market, going to about a $306 billion market in 2024. So this is one of the verticals we've identified as being high value, fragmented. There's several players in this ecosystem. Most of them require, anywhere from a 7,000 to 25,000 annual contract. And we're trying to come into it from a more agile way where you can sign up on your own and sign up with us too. And it's just a smaller monthly cost. So we figure we can, get a nice slice of that industry. That's one of the verticals. The other vertical we started on was anti-spam. So we actually used the FynCom backend to create an app that pays you to block phone spam calls. That's called Karma Call. It's still out there in the market. That's how we started. We built like an anti-spam engine, and to power that engine, we had to build a rewards infrastructure for it. And after we did that, we're like, wow, this infrastructure is really robust. We made like 100,000 payments for blocked phone spam calls, and it cost us nothing basically. So where else can we use this? So that's our theme, using this reward infrastructure, which is capable of doing micro transactions, nano transactions, fractions of a penny, and doing it in many, many different steps. So instead of having one big gift at the end of a, say, 30-minute demo, instead of giving someone just $25 at the end, you can give them $1 when they respond to an email, a few dollars when they answer a qualifying survey, another few dollars when they book a Calendly meeting, and so on and so forth. And so you end up rewarding each step of that customer interaction, and it's all sequenced for you through FynCom. So that's how we're approaching the corporate gifting market vertical. But there are other verticals that we're looking into, most notably in anti-phone spam. And then one thing that I really want to go into is a private direct message thing. Your LinkedIn direct messages. LinkedIn has something called InMail for that already, but you don't get a cut of that. You don't get paid for not responding to the person. Discord, Instagram, Telegram, these are all messages that are just full of direct message spam, and our technology is one that's geared to tackle that. So
I don't know how it would work if you were a boyfriend trying to get your girlfriend to respond and you sent her an offer for her to respond.
Well, hopefully she's on your contact list already, so then you would just bypass that. But if not, yeah, that's a whole other story.
That's great. That's great. Well, listen, obviously I saw that you started the business in September 2019. And so, you really are a COVID startup. Tell me about that journey, how that's been over the last couple of years.
Well, I've been luckier than most. I mean, due to some, connections that I had with some great people, I was able to get into a fintech incubator that gave me office space from that period, from like November 2019 all the way up until about February 2021. So I had an office for most of COVID. They did close down in the middle of September, in the middle of 2020. So there was a bit of a weird closure there. Actually, no. I've been February 2021 is when they closed. And then we jumped into another office where I'm at now. I've always had the opportunity to have office spaces here, and even then, it was very lonely. Startups are very, very lonely, and to do COVID, it was even lonelier. So I can't really. You just survived, I guess.
Yeah, but I think that when I look at your core product, your core solution, as everything shifted more digital, more online, it just seems to me that a product like yours fits quite perfectly into, finding that engagement, finding that customer connection in a heavily digital world. Did you see that there were kind of an upsurge at any point during the last couple of years that people were like, oh yeah, we need more engagement?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think everyone's seen that. And for our side, we definitely have seen an increase in digital marketing agencies reaching out to us and being more receptive to the conversation than they were at the very beginning. And in overall, this trend of digitization, it's just something that's been inherent in our society from, the 60s when the internet first came out, and down to like the 90s when, people first started getting the internet, down to like 2000 when it started being more like that. Trend had just shown that things are going to be shifting massively to that side. And I come from a background of physical engineering. And so when I completed the PhD, I was of the mindset that was really hard. and it's easier to sell bits than it is to sell atoms. So I'd like to go into a world where I can have the most positive influence on as many people as possible. And you can do that in material sciences, but it's quite challenging. Like any engineering field is quite challenging. And in the digital world, I just saw more opportunities to get that reach that I was looking for. So
I think it's a really interesting model. I mean, now that you're a couple years in on the whole thing, I mean, you obviously went from probably having your MVP all the way to where you are now. Are you finding that customers are more receptive, and are you able to track attribution to actual sales from this stuff?
So customers are more receptive now. In the beginning, it was hard to even get a conversation going. At this point, it's much easier. You know, the conversations come naturally. I have inbounds coming in now. It's quite different. As far as attribution, one of the things we don't do right now is advertising, like Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, any of that kind of thing. I've never really felt that I was, it never really appealed to me. It might be something that I'm missing out, entirely, and I'm missing a lot of traction, potential revenue maybe. So in terms of attribution, the closest thing we have to that is just who's been through our page and what link they clicked on that page, and where they were directed to from, how they got to our page in the first place, which we use Google Analytics for that. So the closest thing we have to attribution is Google Analytics letting it know where the inbound traffic is coming from.
It's great. I mean, I'm really excited about what you guys are building. It certainly has a lot of potential, not only in the financial space, but certainly in a million other industries as well. I mean, as you look to the back half of 2022 and beyond, what are your hopes for the near future?
So for the near future here, I'm looking at having a great team that's going to jump on board. There's a couple of discussions I'm having, one with another organization, younger, like startup, like folks like myself, and we're looking at working together somehow. I'm really excited about that. There's some other international organizations that I'm currently involved with that are using our infrastructure to help with their surveys. And so there's a couple of partnerships that are out there looming. And what I'm most excited for is to have other people join me on this mission, whether it's through, working side by side or being financially invested within the organization. So those two key pieces are what I'm looking for towards the end of the year.
Excellent. Well, Adrian, it's been amazing talking to you and learning more about what you're doing at FynCom. I feel like you have a product for where things are going. So it's exciting to see that. If someone wanted to learn more about FynCom, where should they go to find you?
They should go to fyncom.com to find out more about our website or organization. And, to reach me is very easy, just adrian@fyncom.com. Just to FYI, I'm also looking at developing tool for handling my inbound communication. So you might message me and find out that you need to participate in some way to get to me. So I'm not too shy about giving my email out anymore.
Yeah, well, you can turn yourself into the product, I guess. That's kind of
Exactly.
or what do you say? You have to eat your own dog food, right? So there you go, making it happen. Well, Adrian, that's really, really amazing stuff. We've been speaking with Adrian Garcia. He is the founder and CEO of FynCom. He started the business in the end of 2019 and has been building it through COVID. It's a system that increases marketing ROI by allowing businesses to enhance each stage of their sales funnels with automated rewards, creating engagement that would otherwise be lost. And so as we all seek for more engagement, Adrian has a piece of the answer that's a critical one. So I look forward to hearing about the success you guys have in the near future, and look forward to having you back.
Thanks, Pat. Really appreciate it.
Cheers, Adrian.